Hello, 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 and welcome back to Community Conversations with your host, Miss J. Excited to be here this week. We've had an amazing November so far. We've talked about law enforcement, we've talked about education, and we talked about children and their anxieties, etc. Bringing you amazing people, bringing you amazing information. But I'm back again this week, and this time it's for the entrepreneurs. Right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, I am going to be discussing a topic today that helps and impacts many small businesses. As I like to say, a small business is a small mindset. So let's talk about the empires that we're building as business owners and entrepreneurs. Each week, you showing up and being part of the conversation is the best part of what I do. Your presence continues to shed light on conversations that need to be had. And why are these important? Because it plays a vital role in our day to day lives and the goals we look to achieve for ourselves, our family, and our legacy. As always, you're welcome to join the conversation with questions, thoughts, or comments. You can post in the chat or you can email infolovebay@gmail.com. Again, last week we had an amazing time with Keith Merritt giving amazing insights of the world of law enforcement, and he will be back for Darker Shades of Blue Part 2. So I hope you're going to tune in and join us. But today we're talking about media. We know media is a massive must in business. It's a platform that allows you to introduce your vision to the world. But there's a side to media that many fail or get trapped in, and we're discussing that, the perceptions versus the reality in media in business. Our featured guest this week is going to be Georgette Dehaney of the COC Socials. She's a seasoned entrepreneur and mentor with a diverse and rich background spanning over 2 decades. With 16 years of corporate experience in interior design field, Georgette's journey as a business owner began in 2024 with Georgie Porgy Loot Bags. Inspired by her desire to elevate the quality of children's party favors, she transitioned into the online bakery world in 2009 and started creating custom desserts and cakes with none other than her mother. You can't beat a family business. This venture not only showcased her creative talents, but also solidified her reputation as a dedicated and innovative businesswoman. But in 2015, she made another pivot. She discovered her passion for mentoring, which led to the official launch of her coaching business. Caked Out Coach, now known as COC Socials. She decided that she was going to teach and support women in business to navigate the complexities of social media with intention and confidence. Please welcome to the stage and our platform here on Community Conversations for another great conversation, Miss Georgette Dehaney. Hello, how are you?
I am great. Thank you. And that was such a wonderful intro. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I too pride myself in introing my guests with fervor.
Thank you. Awesome.
Love
Awesome.
it.
Thank you.
Love it. Well, we have a robust hour today that I want to fill up. As I said to the entrepreneurs who are listening in on this call, if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur and you are looking to build this empire, I want you to tune in. Make sure you're asking. When I bring on guests, please utilize them to the fullest. Ask questions that you need because they're here for you today. Now, let's start talking a little bit as to why you decided to focus on social media with such a rich tapestry of doing custom cakes and desserts.
Right. It was something that happened, like just like my business. Georgie Porgy Cakes, Georgie Porgy Loot Bags was something that happened. It wasn't a plan for me to be an entrepreneur per se in the creative aspect of cakes and then now social media. And it was just a natural evolution of when I realized that I had to use my creativity from cakes to market myself. You have to think outside the box when you're marketing for yourself. When you're that one person team, you got to figure out ways that you can be seen, be heard, be recognized, and be remembered. So it was a natural transition that ended up happening after helping many entrepreneurs try to navigate through social media as well. So again, it was something that ended up just happening, and I absolutely adore being a part of helping people realize how to market with intention, purpose, and confidence on social media.
And I love that because, when you think about it, a lot of people think that, well, let me put it this way. You started without even starting. Now, spanning this long, 20 years of being an entrepreneur, in terms of the business that you're doing. Back in those days, I don't even know if social media existed like that, right? Like we clearly didn't have Instagram that I could recall. I mean, I'm only 21, 25 on a good day, but it just said to me that, hey, there's an opportunity here to look at almost how it was done and now how it's being done. In your opinion, what do you find was the biggest shift in moving from the yellow pages to, streaming across the world in matter of minutes?
I just want to just reiterate your question. Did you just ask what the biggest shift was? There was a little bit of a hiccup there. The biggest shift from,
yes.
2004.
The biggest shift of media in terms of back traditional media versus now, where you can just at the snap of a button kind of have everybody know who you are and what you do. What's the shift? How do you feel that shift happened?
Right. Well, that shift was crazy, but I'm going to go back into memory lane. Do you remember the yellow pages and then the white page directory?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we had to do when we were when we had to look up our whatever we needed, the plumber, the repairman, whatever we needed to go into the yellow pages. So anybody that's watching this and doesn't know what the yellow pages do a quick Google and you'll have a quick smile. But that shift happened, and it was a great thing that happened. It came out with Facebook, and we were all finding long lost friends, and then we started to slowly use it to promote our side hustle. And then Instagram came in with a storm, like a lion. He came in, and we also started to realize, like, it's not just for personal. Now we can start using this for business. And back then, when it came through, it was an awesome shift because now it's free, and you can find anybody at any place in the world, at any time we wanted. If we couldn't sleep at night and we went online, we can Google, we could search, we could look for whatever. So that shift was an unknown shift, but it was a very welcomed shift for us to be able to, for us to not have to lug around this big yellow book or the big white directory, but also to just have it on our phone and just, well, I guess before phones, it was on the computer.
Yeah.
So we were Googling and just looking for things on the computer. So that shift was a very welcoming shift. And it's amazing now because now new businesses that are finding it harder with marketing dollars, we can market for free on social media as long as we do it properly.
That's it. Yes, 100%. And I mean, here we're talking about some of the amazing benefits of having the evolution of media, right? The platforms, because now you have your IG, you have your Twitter, you have your Twitter X, and then your X Twitter, and then your W. There's just a lot of different platforms. Your LinkedIn, and and each platform serves different audiences. Let's just be real. There's a lot. I'm not like, I like social media for what it does, but I can't keep up with all of it. But one of the things, though, as we talk about all the great positives around it, there is a darker side in social media. And I think when we were having our bit of our discovery call in regards to the show, it was interesting, the conversation that came from that and the perspective that you were sharing and some of the things that I've seen as a business strategist. There's a way that we need to bring to some light some of the traps that social media is causing and how it's impacting. Now, I know you work with a lot of companies who are, especially in the startup phases, you're primarily working with women. How do you see that impacting the new entrepreneurs coming in, seeing businesses develop through social media?
It's impacting them in two ways. Like we know it's in a positive way, which is the light, and then we see it in the dark way, which is the negative aspect of it. And it's really hard for a new person coming in to market themselves, because once upon a time we could post and ghost, is what they say. We can post, and if they like it, they call us, they buy, they do their thing. But now it's a different thing. The shopper is a lot more aware now. So now we have to tap in to what that customer wants, what that customer needs, versus what they think they need. We got to show them what they need that our product can do for them. So it becomes a little bit dark, because in some ways we try to follow a trend. And when you end up following a trend, you can sometimes teeter off into the not being authentic, because you just want to be a part of the trend and you want to be viral. So coming in as a new entrepreneur, you have to know what your strategy is going to be and what your plan is going to be. So trends are good, but research them and relate them to yourself and to your business. So making sure that you're following this trend. And if the trends are dancing and you're not a dancer, don't do it.
Please don't. Like, just let's put that out there in the air, in the atmosphere. Let's put that into the atmosphere. I'm just going to put this out here right now for all of the viewers. She is having a bit of a lag, or sometimes it freezes, but don't worry, she'll be back. I can see that it's lagging a bit, so just letting you know, G. If you hear me re-ask a question, it's because you're chipping in and out. But it does not stop the conversation, honey, because we're in community conversations. Yes. So if you're just tuning in, let me take a moment right here. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Community Conversations with your host, Miss J, the hostess with the mostest. We are here with Georgette D of the COC Socials, and what we're talking about today is perception versus reality. Now we're digging into some meaty stuff, and we are here. Now Georgette is really specializing in Instagram, so we're really going to be looking more into that topic, as that's her expertise. And one of the things that we're just talking about is how new entrepreneurs are using social media, or how they're seeing social media as an amazing platform for building their business. But there are some areas to be aware of. And one of them that I want to throw out, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is how do you feel like when you're talking with your clients, do you feel that they believe that the things that they're seeing on social media are super real in terms of, the businesses that they're competing with, for example?
Yes, they believe 100% that what they are seeing on there is real. And then that's where the overwhelm ends up coming in. And my favorite, not so favorite term, the imposter syndrome, comes in. And although it's real, I think when you realize that you're comparing yourself and you're trying to make your business something else, you'll get stuck in that imposter syndrome. And then you end up becoming stuck, and you can't move, you can't go anywhere, and you just always have something that's holding you back. And that is a huge part of trying to follow trends and trying to copy other people. And one thing I have to tell the ladies that I work with all the time is, you are seeing what they want to show you. You are seeing their right now. You didn't see that entire journey. So their right now is maybe what your right now will be in a month, 2 months, a year. I don't know what the journey is, but I think that entrepreneurs have to remember, you're seeing what they want to show, just like you're showing what you want to be seen. And, sometimes we fluff a little bit, and, we're showing something a little bit more. We're manifesting something. We're putting it out there that we want to have more. And maybe we're really not at that stage. And you have to remember, there's other people that are doing that with their business as well. So use it for research, but bring it back to what it is, what feels right for your business. Then you won't get stuck in that dark spot and not wanting to post at all, or comparing yourself all the time. Yeah. Because all of our businesses are unique.
Yeah. That intimidation factor is really high. For those who don't know, not only a host here on Community Conversations, but I am a business coach, a business strategist. I like to say I'm a drip strategist, right? I build your drive, resilience, innovation, and progression. And I specialize in empires. Now, one of the things that I see when I'm coaching, and I think you said it best, people see the lights, the camera, and the action, right? They're seeing all the effects that Instagram provides. And, it's an amazing platform once again. But what some people don't recognize is that if you're not really focused on your vision and who you are, you tend to try to come across as somebody else. And that could be detrimental to your business, because people need to know who they're buying into. One of the biggest things that I coach on is trust. When you're doing your business, you put together what we call your MVPG, your mission, your values, your philosophies, and goals. And when you see somebody else who has all the nice trimmings in terms of all the filters and this and that, they may show you a ship in the background, but honey, they might be rowing the boat back to the dock, right? They're not necessarily on the ship. And so I always say, stay in your lane and play the game.
Yeah.
If you're going to be, wanting, don't portray something that's not necessarily true. Do you find that that people are getting caught up in being someone that they're not in terms of?
Yes, I do believe that statistic, that number has gone down because now people are seeing, buyers are much more aware now. Buyers want to know more about the company they're purchasing from because a lot of the buyers now want to support small businesses. So they want to know more about those small businesses. So the buyer being more aware, owners are starting to turn around and they are trying to be much more authentic and transparent because they're seeing that the questions that are being asked in person or even online, they're realizing, all right, our shoppers are smart people, and gone are the days of just swiping and going. So I definitely feel that number has decreased. But is it out there? Yes, there are still the showboaters that are out there that want to portray. And I am not here to judge anybody, but I feel that those vanity metrics hurt you way more than being authentic and having some organic growth.
Love it. Sorry, my screen went crazy for a second. You mentioned something there that I think is something that I'd love to dig into. We talk about organic growth, right? And I mean, you are very keen when it comes to KPIs, right? You're always looking for those key performance indicators, and you're helping your clients through audits. Now, when you do an audit for somebody in terms of media, and again, we want to take this with a grain of salt in terms of, obviously she's not working for IG, so she's not going to be able to tell you that level of, but IG does provide a huge platform for evaluation. What are you seeing in the audits that you help people to recognize in terms of organic growth?
Okay, so the main thing that I notice is that they don't want to let go of the followers that they do have. And I like to teach the people that I work with that your followers is real estate that's very important to your analytics, to your insights. So if you have people that have been on Instagram since 2017, but they're not active, they haven't posted, they haven't interacted with you, you don't need to have them on there, because what Instagram sees is that you have, let's just pull a number out here, you have 2,000 followers, but you only get 2 likes. That means Instagram thinks your content isn't important. They don't like it. So they're not going to push you.
Yes.
So that's the biggest thing that I see in audits, because the first thing I do is I go and I look at the followers. I go, 1, to check the followers to make sure they're real, they're not bots. And 2, I do a little bit of a deep dive to see when the followers that show up, when they last posted. And that's why I can go back with that information to the client and say, all right, so I did a quick look, and the first 10 people I saw, they haven't posted since 2022 or 2023 or even early 2024. Get rid of them, because they're not helping your stats at all. So that's the first thing you get and see.
That's the first thing. And one of the things you just said there in terms of, the importance of looking at these changes and pivoting very quickly. It's a fact right now that Instagram has over 2 billion monthly active users. 2 billion, not 2 million, not 2,000, but 2 billion. And that's an increase of 1 billion in 4 years. Now, we know that that's almost 20 or 30% of the population of the world. Like, the world's at 7 billion right now. So if 2 billion people are on Instagram, geez, I need to start me a platform and charge $1. Like, let's go.
$1.
Just
$1. Like, that's it, right?
Yeah. And this makes it the 4th largest in the world. Now, I think that's a perspective that a lot of entrepreneurs don't get. They don't realize that you're playing on a platform that is being utilized. And so it's really important to have those audits. It's really important to, check in and make sure that you are moving the needle in your own little way, right? Because again, one of the things that I learned in marketing was around the fringe. And, one of my favorite marketing speakers, he said, a lot of times we go for the masses. We want to get into that mainstream. We want the 50,000, the 100,000, the 2 million followers, et cetera, et cetera. But really and truthfully, that only happens once we can get on the fringe and go inwards towards that, right? Because with 37.04% of the world, 5.4 billion internet users, 5.4 billion internet users, 2 billion are on Instagram.
Crazy.
How nuts is that? I'm in the wrong business. Forget business. I'm just going to go build a platform and call it JGram. I don't know. I'm going to figure out something.
We're going to figure out something. Just be careful of the patents and all that stuff out there. I I wanted to hop on something you said in terms of people wanting, or business owners wanting, that big number. And that's another thing I notice in entrepreneurship and business owners. They want that big following, but if you can't handle or manage the 200 you have now, what are you going to do with the 1,000? What are you going to do with the 10,000? Right? So your goal can't only be to grow your following. That has to be one of the goals, but the main goal is to be seen, to be heard, to be liked, to be known, to be trusted. Then you can make a sale. That's the big goal that I would love everybody to walk away from today, not the vanity metrics of the likes that you get and how many followers you actually have.
Now, people live for the likes, which is very interesting. People live for the likes. And I see that, a lot of the pages, sometimes you hear people say, oh, well, this person has 90,000 followers. But you mentioned earlier, kind of scroll down and look at what they're getting in terms of comments, in terms of likes or reposts, right? A lot of the times they have 90,000 followers with 2 likes, like you said. And that really, it kind of strays people away sometimes from the main goal, which is to share your product and services and build relationships with your users, right? The Instagram is a tool, just like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. They're all tools that's designed to reach a target market. What are your thoughts on who should use Instagram? Is everybody supposed to be on Instagram? Should that be everyone's main squeeze?
Well, because Instagram is like the main squeeze out there right now, I think everybody should try it. But if it's not working for you, then you try another platform. So if you are getting all kinds of interaction and business from Facebook, don't break what works. But once you have mastered one that does very well for you, then you can slowly start to tip into another platform so that you can double up your reach. But if you're struggling with being on Instagram and it's not working for you, don't fight it. Or hire me, but don't fight it. Like if it's not, if it's not working for you and you already have a platform that's working for you, don't fight it. Just work with what's working for you. So everybody wants to be on Instagram, but does it work for everybody? Not for everybody. Can it work for everybody with the proper strategy and plan? Of course it can. Right? With the proper, you have to just plan it. You can't just go and say, all right, here I am, world. You just mentioned how many people are on there.
This, there's a strategy that goes behind it. And I think a lot of new business owners, they don't get that concept, that you still have to have a marketing strategy, right? Marketing is marketing, media is media. Media is a tool that takes your marketing strategy to life. That's really what it is. And so when you understand the concept of marketing, then you understand the power of media, right? You have a message. And if you were to even think about some of the things that you're seeing on social media, what do you think are some of the things that are missing?
What's missing?
And it doesn't have to be Instagram per se, but just media across the platform.
Media across the board. Media across the board is missing that connection. I think people are so caught up in that word saturated, that they're just trying to sell every post that they're making, every live that they're doing, every story that they're sharing. It's just selling. And we know how we feel, or I know how I feel when I'm seeing that all the time. I just keep swiping. I don't pay attention. So I either keep swiping or I unfollow if it's just too much. Or now we have that handy dandy tool. We can hide it. And Instagram says, why? You're not interested, irrelevant, whatever it is. And you don't want to be in that box. You don't want to be in that bracket with people seeing you sell all the time. Talk about your business. You can soft sell, because that's what we're on social media to do. That's what we're using it for, to market our business. But there are different stages in that marketing strategy to use on social media. So that way, I say it all the time, you got to have the know, like, and trust. You have to have the know, like, and trust. And those are things that you share on social media so that people can relate to you, can relate to the business. If you're a faceless business in terms of not wanting to show your face, but you got to teach people, tell people what it is that you do. They love transformations. They love transformations.
They follow. If getting on media in any platform, what are some of the things that you would say, or maybe one or two things would be your top reason or ways to select those platforms that work for you?
You got to use the platforms to do your research. So do your research in terms of who your competitors are. Check and see what they're doing. How well are they doing? And check their platforms. and see how well that is doing. And then you make checks. You have your list of what you're looking for. So you make your checks, what is good, what is bad, and that will help you determine where you might have a ground to start on, to start to build a foundation and to move forward. You also need to look for if your customers are there. So if you are dealing with homeschool parents, they might not be on social media per se, but they might be on YouTube. Right? They might not be on Facebook or Instagram unless it's just for family. For homeschoolers, they might only be on YouTube and other educational platforms. So you have to find out where your clients are, where your customers are, and that will also help you decide what platform you should be on instead of trying to be on all of them.
Yeah, and you get that from your business planning, right? Or your business, your blueprint. Like I say, when you build your blueprint, you build your pathway a little bit easier because you know who you're talking to, you know your market segmentation, you know who your customer avatar is, and it makes it easier for you to talk. So I'm going to say this to all my entrepreneurs who are out there. You have to have a plan, and you have to know who you're talking to. A lot of people get on media and they're just spewing. They're not really actually connecting with everybody. Like, I always laugh when you say, nobody needs to see you at your 4th of July barbecue. Sometimes it's just not relating, right? Like you're going to come on and show like you're at the pool. Huh? Like what? Like, aren't you selling nails and bricks, kind of thing? And so how appropriate is content? Do you think people are missing the mark when it comes to content development?
I feel that there is a large number of people that miss the mark on it because they're trying to be authentic. So they think that their business has to show them with their family and their mom's birthday and their dad's birthday, and just showcasing, like you said, the barbecue that they were at. Anybody that works with me knows I say, keep that off of your feed, put it in your stories. They come off in 24 hours. You get to do that. No like and trust. People to learn about you. But in your feed, you don't want to risk the chance of somebody seeing a post that's unrelated and saying, why do I even follow this person? You don't want to risk that chance. So missing the mark of them trying to feel and be authentic by showing their life behind the scenes, but it's not related to their business. Sometimes missing the mark and using the funny memes or the funny trending audios and doing something behind it, but not relating it back to your business is missing the mark. I'm not saying you can't use the entertaining and the comedy relief type reels, but always draw it back to your business. You have to. And I find that that's where the mark gets missed because they're like, well, then I need to be authentic. Who says you're not? Just because you're not showing that you're at the picnic this weekend. Keep it in your stories.
100%. I think that's a trap. And this is where entrepreneur needs to beware, right? Like if you look on a Tide commercial, you're not seeing the CEO of Tide chilling on the beach in his Speedo talking about, long weekend. Like it's just not going to happen.
It's not happening at all.
Right? Like if I go to the Tide, like, you know what I mean? I think people understand that media is a representative. It's almost like a big website, to be honest, right? Because that was the first media platform that we ever used was a website. That was our first marketing tool that was easily automated where we can click and see, click and this, and then click and buy, and e-commerce came in and everything, kind of evolved so quickly, but there was never really a training on it, to be honest, right? People just kind of got on there and felt it out and followed people who were doing together. Exactly. It was kind of like an overlay. And you also said something too that I want to tack onto is understanding, that content is on your page, the look. Now I know that you are about the look. And I want to dig into a little bit about that, but I want to welcome all of our new watchers. If you're coming in or you're streaming in now and you're listening, welcome to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio here on Community Conversations each and every week, 5:00 p.m. You will hear beautiful conversations that are happening to impact change. It's about educating our community so that we can do better in changing how we advance and succeed and progress in whatever we're looking to do. Today, I'm so thrilled to have actually one of my good friends here. She's been doing amazing work. I'm watching her rise, Miss Georgette D. I say Georgette D of the COC. I'm going to make that a thing. And she's here today sharing with us the perception versus reality, media in business, and how that really plays in to how we're growing our business on social media. Now, she specializes in IG, but she, basically what you do in IG, you're pretty much doing across all platforms. So let's just get back into the conversation. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. And if you'd like to say something to Georgette, she is here for you till the top of the hour. Now, we were just talking about areas to beware in social media, and we were just talking about the platform in terms of just a quick recap, not always seeing that what you see is not always what's true. So be not only just authentic, but be real about where your business is at. We talked about the type of content. We don't need to see your grandma's 94th birthday on your feed while you're selling hammers. It just doesn't connect. Those types of things, if you really want to show and build some kind of continuity or trust, then you can throw that in your story. So those are just some couple of ideas and things that we're talking about. But let's talk about look. So as you're using a lot of social media platforms, some people get lost or in the whole fluffle of they feel they have to do something different for every single platform. Why that thought process and why that belief system?
I'm going to agree with that and say that I was there too. So I struggled with my original business, Georgie Porgy Cakes. I struggled with showing up on social media, on LinkedIn, because being on LinkedIn as a professional in the corporate world, it's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. As I'm realizing it now, I'm seeing that it's lighting up a bit. So we can now feel a lot more free to share the things that we shared on Facebook and Instagram and even on TikTok, on LinkedIn now. But when it first was coming out and you were doing it, I struggled with it. So ultimately, I realized that who I am is who I am. Doesn't matter what platform I show up on. So if I sell cakes and they're fun and they're bright, that's just how I had to realize I can show myself, I can show up that way. But I struggled with it. And so that's the thing. You have to be authentic to your brand and to yourself. And that's how you show up. Mm-hmm. You have to, hands down, you have to be yourself and and showcase your business as to what you want people to see, how you want to represent yourself and how you want people to receive you. So you got to show up as your authentic self. And that authentic self is not copying what your competitor is doing and trying to do it verbatim. That's not your authentic self. You will get tired, you will become burnt out, and you will become very overwhelmed by trying to live up to, I'm going to use the word Joneses, those other influencers, your competitors that are at a different spot. Because remember what I said previously, their right now is not your right now. So their journey has landed them there. And also, we also don't know how true that portrayal is at that present moment. So use it as research and tweak it to align with yourself and your business more than anything. And then you will be able to show up.
Love that. Let's talk about hashtags. And I'm, ladies and gents, I'm going through all of these just for you. So make sure you're taking and rewatch this if you need to. The beauty about these being recorded is that you can press pause and you can take in these gems, because this is what's dropping today, honey. The gems are dropping today. Okay, this is all Miss J brings is gems, honey. I only bring the gems, honey. Okay, let's talk about hashtags. They're not dead, but their role has changed and they've expanded in a way. They remain a valuable tool for community building. How do people use them?
That's the thing. People just pick hashtags from whatever they think is popular. It could be related or not.
Lie. I've done that a few times. Like I used to make up, I didn't realize hashtags actually were a thing. I was just making stuff up, like things that I would say, like I type my post and like hashtag loving it, hashtag yeah, hashtag yeah, okay, hashtag. And then I remember you telling me like, where are all these hashtags? And I'm like, yeah, it came from my head. And you're like, sweetie, that's not a thing. So I believe it's important to understand what these hashtags do.
You got to understand your hashtags. You have to understand. So you don't just pull them from anywhere. They should be related to your image. They should be related to your brand, and they should be related to your message. So I have a 10, 10, and 10 type of rule. So you find 10 that are related to your business, 10 related to your city and niche, and 10 that are related to the content that you're talking about. And it's because we're allowed to have 30 hashtags on our post, but now Instagram is saying you don't need to use all 30. So once you have 30, you can shuffle them up and use them at different times instead of it being always the same set of hashtags used all the time. Instagram also sees that and thinks you're not putting in enough work. So they sometimes quote unquote shadow ban you, don't push you out as much because they just feel like it's possibly a robot. You're not authentic or you're not a real person behind it. So find your 30 hashtags, under the different pillars that you have for your content, and mix them up and use them. But make sure that they are, like I said, some related to the post, the image, the video, related to your city and niche, and then related to what you're talking about. And when you find what those are, then you got to go deeper and you got to research those, because some of those hashtags have many, many uses. And if you're a small business like myself, you won't be seen with the big, large hashtags. So you got to do your due diligence. You got to go into that big hashtag, whatever that one is. Let's just say cake decorating for my past. We would say cake decorating, and it's huge. So I would research in Instagram cake decorating. Then it comes up with a whole bunch. Cake decorating would be the first one, and it shows you how many uses it's had, and it's had millions. Then there are other hashtags that are related to cake decorating that they have come up with that has been searched. You go in and you see if that works for you, if it's dead or if it's still alive. And then you also pay attention to how many uses it has. And you need to have a nice broad range of total uses for your numbers. So you should have some that are in the 100K, some that are in the 50K, some that are in the 20K, and then some that are anywhere between 500 and 1,000K. You should have a nice range of different ones. So it's like small, medium, and large hashtags. But do your research and make sure that they're related to your business and that you won't get lost in the sea of the popular people or the larger accounts, sucking up all that air, and then you never get shown. So you got to do your research and make sure that you have some of the smaller ones in there.
And I think something that, I've learned is that hashtags can be followed without following you. Right. So you can literally follow a hashtag. I learned that from my 14-year-old son when he said, Mom, you could follow the hashtag. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? But, and I learned also too from you that you have to continuously post, because it almost measures how much. So based on where you sit on that page, the people who are at the top are posting like 20, 30,000 maybe. Like if they're in in the constant posting and constant, right? The other piece, and I don't, you can confirm this, but it's also a community, right? So when you're looking for your community, you can find a hashtag that your community resides in. If you're into yoga, look for a yoga hashtag and check out the different communities. I know that's something that after you did a workshop that I attended, I was inspired, because it was easy enough for me to go in and look up hashtag business development, hashtag business strategy, hashtag starting a business. And I realized I couldn't put hashtag my raccoon is cute. That was just not relatable. It's just not relatable to my company.
And you're not going to be found. It's not going to show up. And
I'm going to be found by the raccoon population, of course, honey.
But not the people that are going to buy your business, buy your services.
Love raccoons, right?
Right.
Unless I'm starting a raccoon business of some sort, yes.
And that's the thing. I want a lot of the viewers to realize as well that you need to use your hashtags to find your people, to find where they are, and to engage with them. We can't want to grow organically if we're not showing up. So we need to post, we need to repost something that touches you. But when you repost something or reshare something in your stories, don't just do that. You have a higher chance of the company that you reposting you if you say something that relates to you or your business. Don't just repost and say this. Don't just repost and say nothing. Repost and say why you're reposting. How did that touch you? You have a higher chance of being seen by more people if that business decides to reshare that touching moment, right? So that's one. When you are in your hashtags, go in there and start liking the other people, competitor or not, because we know that our client is active with our competitor. So if our competitor misses a comment, jump in and answer. Don't sell yourself, but jump in and answer. Or say, oh, I agree with that question. I get that a lot. Something, interact and engage, because that's what you're asking for. So what you ask for, you need to also give. Don't be afraid to engage.
Huge point. I think a lot of people get so caught up in who's following them that they're not necessarily, or sometimes they're not following the right people. I always say these platforms are just as much as a tool. Like if you're following something or for the sake of personal entertainment, knock yourself out. But in business, you should be following your industry, right, as closely as possible, because that's where you're going to get the gems from. That's where you're going to pick up what's trending, what's happening, year over year changes, you know, the growth or the threats that are coming in the industry, right? Like, I mean, you can't use baby oil. What are you gonna use? You know what I mean? So if you're an oil creator, you should be following and checking out what's going on in the oil industry. I'm just saying. Right? Now, some of these hashtags are being banned now, right? Like because they're being overly used. They're almost like spamming, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something to be aware of too. If you're using too much of the popular stuff, your content might not be going anywhere or being seen by anybody, because
that's right.
Instagram is just taking them off, right? Or any other social media platform.
But there's a hack for that, though, eh? There's a hack for that.
Listen, I'm not trying to get arrested today, so don't be bringing none of your illegal talks into my show. Thank you.
They're all legal. They're all legal. Stay close. Stay close. They're all legal. But this is just a quick one for you. When you find a saturated hashtag that possibly could be banned or you're not finding any type of engagement with it, add your city to it. But search it before you start using it. So try it with the city in front. You know, Toronto, let's just use yoga for an example. Toronto yoga Toronto. Then we can say yoga in Toronto. Like, try different things and see what shows up for you. So that way you can dig down, and that's where your clientele will be, and that's where your market will be. You gotta do the research. You gotta set your timer and dedicate some time to research for your business so that it's not done in vain. You're not using hashtags and then complaining that you're not being seen or they don't work. It only doesn't
100%.
Work because you're not working it.
100%. I think one of the things that people need to recognize when you are delving into the world of media is understanding you're consistently talking to somebody, right? Like the power of social media is improved communications. It's increasing your brand awareness. It's helping you to over time reconnect with some people that you know, your warm market, before you even tap into the cold market. And so there's so much benefits, but we always have to remember there are also, with every good thing, there comes some cons, right? The pros and the cons. And so some of the things that we're talking about today are cons, you know, and where we find as businesswomen, we are finding that many of our clients are, you know, are facing these things. Help me to understand something here in terms of the advantages and disadvantages of the power. How do you see growth happening on when using social media? Like, how does a company utilize it to scale their business?
Okay, well, there's a few ways. There is the fast way of purchasing followers and purchasing likes, and that only works for a short time, because when your purchase contract is complete, if you buy it for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, when that is complete, those are not really authentically your client. They are not ever going to buy from you. They're only, excuse me, helping you with the vanity metrics. So after that contract is complete, Instagram will see all that interaction just go to a halt. And then therefore it's like you have to start all over again to start organically start posting and getting those organic likes again, because you're going to have to show Instagram, hey, my stuff is important. My stuff is good for my target audience. So that's one way. People are going the quick route, but it's not a long lasting route. The other way is, like I just said, you need to engage with people in order to be seen.
Yeah.
So we go out to networking events to be seen, to hand out our cards, to talk, to meet people and introduce our business to people. We need to do that on Instagram, but we're not always introducing ourselves right away. We just have to start liking. We just have to start commenting, and we just have to sometimes just start sharing. So whatever you're comfortable with, and I always guide the people that I work with, the businesses that I work with, when something touches you, double tap it. When something gives you a thought, say it. Always give that customer, give that client, give that business, that other person on the other side, give them something more than a heart emoji or a thumbs up. Give them minimum 4 words in a comment. Sometimes ask a question so that you get that engagement going back and forth. Instagram sees that and will also start to push you to other people. Another thing you got to be aware of, and I know Ms. J said this earlier, who you're following. If you're following a lot of celebrities, that's what you're going to see in your feed all the time. So that's not where all your clients or customers will necessarily be. So you have to be very mindful of who you're following and the posts that you search in your Explore page, or the things you search, because that just, the whole Big Brother thing, that just shows up automatically on your page. There's many times I'm looking and scrolling, I'm like, why is this on my page? And I realize it's probably something I searched for another client. A few of the clients that I've worked for, I'm like, I start seeing things for hair, or I start seeing things for body, because I'm doing the research for them. And then now I'm seeing all this starting to come onto my page. So you have to sometimes go back in and clean it out. And when you've done that, just be very mindful of who you're following, because that will keep showing up and it will block the people that you really want to see, to talk to, and engage with.
Listen, we have Surf Your Life, who just checked in and said, yes, honey, yes. Oh. I'm adding all the accoutrements to that, but that's what she said. Georgette Dehaney, welcome. Hello. She said there's more social media noise to cut through. Very, very true. There is one last part that I want to touch on before we start to wrap up, but we still have some time. Addiction of social media. What's the trap? What's the dark horse on this one when it comes to business owners using social media?
That big pitfall, that dark rabbit hole that we get into, is we say we're researching, but then we start researching and then something else comes up and you're just like, oh, that's cool. Then you click through and you just go through that dark hole of being on there anywhere from 40 minutes to 2 hours and not coming off with any research for yourself. So that dark hole it's very important to time yourself when you're on that. I'm not saying that you can't go in there and just search and scroll, but let that be separate from your research time. Let that be separate from your business time. Because we can get sucked in, and then all of a sudden, and that's where we end up complaining a lot. It doesn't work. I can't find my client. I can't do this. You know why? Because you got stuck and looking at all the funny stuff.
Yes, the cats are jumping and fighting, and the dogs are barking. Yes, and
just
the
all that stuff.
Little babies. Yeah, 100%.
All the cute babies, all that stuff, and then therefore your research got put to the side. And then what do you see next time you come on? You see all the baby videos, you see all the hairstyle videos, you just see all that stuff, and then you got to reset again so that you can find. So I find that being one of the biggest pitfalls and dark spots. And then another one is not knowing what to post. It's a big struggle. How do I know what to post? How do I become relatable to my clients or my customers that are seeing me? I don't know what I am to post. Does this look good? Should I be using these colors? Should I be using this? Like, it's all coming back down to a plan, but those are the pitfalls. And that's what gives that paralysis to people of not wanting to post, because they're just like, I just don't know. And then they're listening to all the gurus. Pick one guru to listen to and use what you can from them. When you're listening to everybody, at most times where most of the Instagram social media people are saying the same thing, just at different times, and they say it differently. So we really don't need to read the 10 different books that say the same thing.
Yeah.
Just the cover is different. The inside is the same, but maybe their chapter organization is different. So that noise is very loud when you're listening. I know, I've been there. I needed to get all the free do-it-yourself stuff, because where my business was, I wasn't able to get all the help that I needed to get in the beginning. So I had to do all that do-it-yourself stuff. But when you use it and when you get that free stuff, and sign up for that free stuff, use it, because it will bring your business to the next stage. It will do that little bit that it says it's going to do. It won't get you, the $1 million, and you're not going to make it in 3 months, because, that stuff you have to pay for. You have 100%. To pay for that guidance. But 100%. If you need to learn how to create an email list and you got a free ebook, follow the steps to create the email list, because social media is just only one part of marketing. When you have your email list, that's yours forever.
Girl, say that they can hear that in the back again. Just say it with your chest. Whoa.
Social media is only one part of marketing. Okay. Only one part of marketing. It's only one part. And when you have your email list, you can utilize that over and over and over. And that's your soft selling. Instagram, you have the soft sellers that, the people that are already following, that already say that they're interested. But who's really interested is the people that are watching your stories.
Yes.
Because that gets sent to the people that follow you. If you're doing really well on the clicks on your stories and the views, Instagram will show it to some new people, but really it gets showed to your audience. So that's your warm audience. That's why selling in stories is very, very, very important, because those people are saying they're interested in what you have to say or sell.
And it gives you, even when it gives you that time, it tells you have 5 seconds to put your point across. Like we don't need to hear about your 1902 history before you get to the final point, right? The media has become so refined that you have to be really concise in your communication. You have to be clear, and you have to be focused on your message. And that addiction part I'm tapping into, because a lot of times you're getting sometimes misinformation or fake news. Right. And you come running, especially, some of my clients, they come running to me and they're like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do with my business. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, where did you get that? Well, I saw it on Instagram, or I saw it on TikTok, or I saw it here and there. And it's like, I hear you, but you have to understand that the research is what really builds your knowledge on how you do that. And the addiction to continuously just going at it, I guarantee you, people just sit there and do this for hours. You're filling your mind sometimes with so much superficial information that you forget what it's like to have a deep connection, right? And those are some of the disadvantages of social media, right? Just the other day, I just got hacked for my personal. They just took my media and gone with it, right? All my pictures of my kids, I can't get into it. So if you have not heard from me, to the people who are listening, if you have not heard from the World of Miss J, it's because the World of Miss J no longer exists. Somebody has taken it. So you got to be really careful about what you're putting on the internet. You got to be careful about what you're putting on your media. Yeah. Now, again, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here on Community Conversations with Georgette D of the COC. She is giving us some true gems today. I told you I don't fluff when it comes to my show. The things that we're telling you, or the things that she is saying, is definitely business builders and business savers. Many people are putting money into or not putting money into social media, and I want to kind of touch on that for a few minutes. The importance of boosting your ads or purchasing promos. What are your thoughts? Now, a lot of people, they think Instagram is free. I can access millions of people. As we learned earlier, 2 billion people using Instagram. But why is it important to purchase or boost ads?
And it's a choice totally up to the business. There are people out there that are making money that do not do it. And there are obviously people not making money that are doing it, but there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. So if you decide that you just want to spend $5 a week because that's what's in your budget, and then you just post, you don't do any of the little bit of research to figure out what you need to do to boost that post. Like, there are keywords you should be using. There's your demographics that you need to pick. I think you can allow Instagram to pick it for you, but you know who your clientele is, you know where they are. So you should be able to hone in on that properly. And then also research what the minimum is that you need to do for a day. And if your budget is small, do that for multiple times that week. And then do that for minimum 3 to 4 weeks minimum to even see if it works. But if you don't have the budget to do it, don't waste the little that you have doing it unless you're going to do it properly. Because you got to be able to, after you post it and then you close down that boosted ad, that campaign, you need to go back in and see what worked and what didn't work. Did your age range work? What were the age range of the people that it showed to? What was the percentage? Maybe you got to shift your demographic age, or maybe the area that you thought would have done well didn't. So you got to figure out that wording, the keywords, and the tag words that you're going to be using in there. You have to boost a post properly to get the best ROI on it and to get your analytics from it so that you know what to do the next time and what not to do. Just boosting for the sake of boosting is only helping Instagram.
100%.
Only
and I don't own Instagram, so if I'm not benefiting, stop boosting. Thank you.
Very much. That's it.
Very much. Hashtag, that's all. Right? And so you bring a good point to that, because at the end of the day, knowing your target market is important because you have to find out what works for you. And you said that very clearly. And I love that because what I say to my clients are, at the end of the day, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to no one. Okay, so you can't just be putting it out there and saying, I know you want to help everybody. That's the famous line. Who are you trying to help? Everyone. Okay, great. That's not going to happen, right? When you're putting out, you're going to see what images work, what messages work, like you said, key message, etc. One of the top things that I do want to bring up to entrepreneurs, which I didn't get a touch on earlier, and you said it, was part of the look is your brand kit. How tight is the brand kit? That's something that as a business owner, you have to be super, 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 super cognitive of. You don't have some of the budgets that some of the bigger companies have. So you have to utilize what you have and some of the free tools that social media provides to put your company in a competitive position.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the importance of that is it's understated. I think a lot of people think that if you just start posting up a whole lot of pictures and images, that it comes together. But what do you find through your research and development of building your program or building your services? What were some of the things you found when you jumped on some of these pages for review?
It was just posting. I see the hard selling all the time and just posting. And sometimes images or videos didn't relate to the business. The business owner thinks that it's relating because they are thinking that they are their target audience. And at one point when you created your business, you were that target audience. You were your ideal client at that time, hence why you started your business. But then we have evolved, or you have evolved as a business owner over time. So you might not still be that your ideal client. And what happens is they think that one thing relates to them and that it should relate to the clients or the customers watching it. And it doesn't always happen. If you're no longer your ideal client, it's not going to relate, right? Yeah. Something that you think would relate with your business, it really doesn't relate sometimes. I've seen so many images of things that don't relate to their business, and it really hurts my heart because I feel that these clients or these entrepreneurs really believe that they're trying to connect with their client, and they're not. Don't post about books if you're not an author. Mm-hmm. If you like reading books, talk about that in your stories. Keep your page as your storefront. Your page is your storefront. Somebody's just going to scroll and they're going to look. So you have to keep things tight. Your brand is not just your logo. Your brand is everything encompassed. It's your logo, it's your color, it's your vision, it's your mission, it's your voice, it's your consistency.
Even your font.
Your font, it's everything in there. So figure out what font you like, and that's what you should be using all the time. All right. Figure out what colors that resonate with your business, what you like, and is it a good selling color? If you want to depict royalty, if you want to depict luxury, you shouldn't be having, soft pinks and baby blues. You need some rich, purples and navy
blues.
Girl,
say that. What kind of? You need some what?
Rich. You can tell I'm very passionate about it.
I love it. That came from the gut, honey.
That one came. And so that's what I see a lot of, what you feel it is without doing a little bit of research to find out what it really should be to resonate with your ideal client out there. So I see a lot of mismatch. You and I talk many times, and sometimes it just seems like a flea market. Like it's just like everything is thrown in and it's not looking cohesive. It's just confusion on there. And if I see that, what is your potential client seeing? 100%. They have just they just walked past your window. They walked past your window.
Ain't nobody trying to look through a window with a hot mess. Let's just put it that way. Ain't nobody trying, and your first 12 tiles in your profile is always what people see. It's first. There, right? Right there. They don't have to look for it. I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to thank you for such an amazing conversation. Again, we drive these conversations to make change. Entrepreneurs, I want you to say thank you to Georgette D by following her on, what's your, just give them that information. Check out the website, all of that, and all that great stuff.
All right. So my Instagram is COC Socials. Facebook is also COC Socials, but I'm always on Instagram. And my website is cakedoutcoach.ca.
There you go. You heard it right here. Thank you, Georgette. I'm going to close out this show, but I want to thank you for being here. As always, you're going to see her on this platform again. I like to bring my experts back. Why? Because continuity is amazing. I want to thank you, all listeners who came out, no matter what part of the world you're at. I mean, hey, if there's 2 billion users on Instagram, then you are probably one of them. And so I hope this social media conversation helped you to determine what's best in order to progress your business to the next level. Again, I'll be here next Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. with a new guest, new topic, and more change, because that's what we do here at Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. You can see us live or you can just listen. Either which way, come and get the knowledge to build your skills and your capacity. Because at the end of the day, the only way you can make change is by having those conversations. I will see you soon and throughout the week. As I say to all my clients, head in the sky, spread your wings, and let's fly. Here at Love Day Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, I want you to check in. December 7th, we are doing our annual third Christmas Children Gift Giving. It's going to be held between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Brampton. For more information, please check out the website, lovebayradio.com, and get involved. We're always looking to provide our future, our legacy, and our generations a special day where we help them to enjoy what we do. On that note, I wish you the best. Enjoy your week, and remember, keep talking. I'm Miss J here on Community Conversations. Take care.